All right, gang, are you tired of the 2025 releases videos yet? I've got the last video here today, and I'm going to take all three videos and create a top 50 2025 releases video, a ranked one that'll air tomorrow. But today I'm talking about indie, niche, smaller houses, collection of fragrances. There's around 100, not exactly 100, but everything that I can get my hands on. But if you want to watch the niche luxury video that I aired a few days ago, please go catch that. And the ranked men's designer, signature designer fragrances video from a few weeks ago, which is also aired. Please go catch those two videos to find all the fragrances that were launched in 2025. And as I was saying, I'm going to take the men's designer list, this video and the previous video, and then combine and create a top 50 for you guys of 2025 releases, and stay tuned for that one soon. We won't be 100, it'll just be a top 50, but there will be some men's designer. I don't know if there's going to be any women's fragrances in the list. I'll have to see. There might be one or two, like I really enjoyed Mugler's Angel Stellar. I don't know, we'll see if there's any others. So I'll do a top 50 ranked list. But in the meantime, let's go through the smaller niche houses, the indie artisanal houses from 2025 fragrances. And the first three we're going to talk about is from the house of Acqua dell'Elba. You guys familiar with this house? They launched 3 fragrances this year. This is the first one, ESSENZAMARE. So this is a super amber, woody, musky offering with a bit of marine thrown in, marine notes vibe thrown in. So yeah, you can smell the marine notes in here, and it depends on, it's funny, like I was prepping the video today to shoot this video. It's rainy and it's actually also muggy, and I think when your body heats up, the marine notes comes out further or more with this fragrance. But when it's a cool, crisp, dry day, this is really pleasant, full of amber woods. And the marine notes doesn't really affect you if you are sensitive to them. But if you like the idea of fragrances like Mega Mare on a smaller scale, not so in your face, not so marine, this is definitely something you should try. So ESSENZAMARE we featured in our mystery box several mystery boxes ago. And then we also had another one from this collection, a trio of fragrances. But this one is Riviera. So Acqua dell'Elba's Riviera. I do have some videos that I'm going to air about the brand very soon. Stay tuned for those videos. Riviera obviously tells you or gives away what the fragrance is going to be about. This is very fresh, aquatic, not super marine like ESSENZAMARE, but a perfect fragrance to wear when it's warm outside. Spring, summer, autumn. It's very invigorating. It's crisp. It's citrusy. Super fresh, as I said. You do get a bit of a lemony experience. And there's some aquatic touches running throughout it, but for me, it doesn't get marine. And these fragrances are also tagged in the video. If you are in the market for any of these fragrances, you'll be able to pick up. I do tag as much as I can, but that is Riviera. I think Riviera is probably my favorite of the 3 fragrances from this collection, but Stella is also pretty close. And Stella was actually just featured in our latest mystery box. Let me know what your thoughts are. This one goes powdery, and it's inspired by the island where this brand comes from. It's got aromatic notes. It's very creamy woods, but super powdery, maybe a bit makeup-y, and maybe this one does lean a little feminine. But I think a confident man would be able to pull it off if they're into powdery fragrances. If you like, I mean, this does come off like makeup a little bit, but there's aromatic notes and spices in there, and kind of utilizing ingredients from the island. If you got the Stella sample in your latest mystery box, what did you think about it? Do add a comment below. Stella from Acqua dell'Elba. And yeah, let me know if you are familiar with the brand. Do add a comment below. Let's move on to the brand Adamo. This is Eden. So it's interesting. Also, the previous video, I had a lot more French brands, the luxury niche video. And this video, I have more Italian brands. Go figure. Anyway, this Eden actually is a floral fragrance. It might hint at something like Tilia. There's a lot of floral notes here. It's a lot of flowers, white flowers. And I think tuberose might be prominent here. It does come off kind of candied. I like that experience of the candied white flowers. And this is a very modern white flower, tuberose, and other white flower focused fragrance. And it's definitely really pretty, enjoyable to wear. Not the kind that's been turning me off lately. I'm not sure why. I am actually kind of not really enjoying tuberose, especially the classic leaning ones. But the modern tuberose, because the modern tuberose fragrances to me do smell a bit more realistic, like the real flower itself. And fragrances like Fracas is just bothering me. I don't know why. At one time, I really appreciated it. But Eden's definitely super gorgeous. It might hint at Tilia a little bit, but check that out, Eden. It's got a really great label, Eden from Adamo. Let me know if you've experienced that fragrance. Next, we have a brand called Antos. This is Cachet. Are you familiar with this brand? It's a Chinese brand, by the way. And the prices on these fragrances are not super expensive also. What I like about this one, it's super fresh, aromatic, and also creamy green woods is what I get with it. Like, I've got this creamy kind of sandalwoody, woody base, and on top of it is this beautiful, gorgeous green spring leaves and flowers in a bed of creamy woods kind of a thing. So awesome. It smells like spring and autumn combined, because with the creamy woods, I get more of an autumn experience, and the green flowers and stems, I get more of a spring experience. So it's kind of like two of my favorite seasons combined together in one fragrance. So that's Cachet by Antos. Let me know if you're familiar with that house. Add a comment below. Let's move on to a brand called Agato. I've got 3 fragrances from this house. First of which is, I don't have these alphabetized unfortunately, but this is the first one. CINISCA or CINISCA. So this is a white citrus floral focused fragrance. It's a freshie. I believe it's orange blossom or neroli in this. It's got a very earthy smell to it. You've got those citrus floral notes. It has greenness. It has vetiver kind of, vetiver or, what's the note? Cypriol. Either papyrus or cypriol kind of a presence in the base, kind of woody. So it's a nice balance of kind of more feminine, I guess, floral notes, the citrus floral notes of the orange blossom, nicely meshed with like more masculine woods and grassy, earthy, woody notes in the base. So that is CINISCA or CINISCA. I'm sorry I'm butchering that, but this is an Italian brand, so it's either a C or a Ch. Correct me with the correct pronunciation. But the next fragrance is PORTAMARINA. These bottles are so beautiful, by the way. We actually had one of these in our latest mystery box, and I'll get to that in a minute. But this is PORTAMARINA, the bottom. And yeah, I was very cautious about this one. PORTAMARINA, referring to marina in the sea and the port. So I thought it was going to be extremely marine, but it's not like fishy at all. It's the smell of the sea, but it doesn't get you deep in the depths of the sea with all the fish. It's super fresh, very invigorating, slightly candied and fruity and bubblegummy, but also marine at the same time. So this brand is sold at the Fragrance Vault in California, in Lake Tahoe, South Lake Tahoe. So if you're ever up there, check this brand out, because I think their bottles are really beautiful works of art, especially these ones with these gorgeous caps. Like I don't know what the difference between the collections are. This one doesn't have one of those caps, but the base is kind of similar, but a bit smaller, as you can see. But definitely a pretty solid Italian house, very niche. and definitely worth checking out. Now the fragrance VETTII, which was featured in our latest mystery box. Beautiful bottle and cap. This cap kind of reminds me of the Evil Eye blue. I wonder if that's what it's based on. If anybody knows, let me know. This is a fig fragrance, by the way. I think we had 2 fig fragrances in our mystery box. Might have been 3. What I like about this one, it's kind of meshed with very earthy notes, woody notes. Once again, I'm picking up something like cypriol or papyrus, but beneath it all, there's a really beautiful, super creamy bed. So you've got the greenness, a bit fruitiness, and then that earthy, kind of woody papyrus vetiver thing, or cypriol vetiver thing happening. And then it's a nice bed of creamy smoothness. Really lovely, this fragrance. It's not necessarily super mass, I should say. The fragrances of this brand are not. But the bottles are works of art, and the fragrances are very unique and, you know, artistic leaning. So that is VETTII. Let me know your thoughts on this one. You got the sample, so you would have been able to sample this fragrance. Do add a comment below. Let's go to a Saudi brand. This is Amare. It's VANULIA. You guys familiar with VANULIA? Obviously, it's referring to vanilla. This is a dark and smoky vanilla, by the way. Got too many strips. It's vanilla, but not the gourmand vanilla. So if you want sugar, cake, fluffy, creamy, it's not this. It's vanilla, kind of boozy, but also rubbery, leathery, greasy, smoky, woody, and dark, very dark. I think that's kind of the trend with a lot of brands doing, they want to do something different with vanilla because there's so many out there. And what are they going to do? Take it into a dark direction. And of course, the vanilla bean is already kind of leathery and dark anyway. And so they're kind of bringing out that kind of the nuances of the vanilla, which is quite enjoyable here. If you like dark vanilla fragrances, maybe I'll do, there's a few out there. I think there's Vanille Carbone from Atelier Materi, which was in the previous video. And I think this is also a little animalic. It's growing. This is actually just what's going on with you know, the trend of vanilla. Not everybody wants to do a super sweet, kind of very cakey, sugary, fluffy, creamy, marshmallowy gourmand. They want to take it into the dark direction. That's exactly what's going on here with VANULIA. So that is Amare, VANULIA. Next, we've got 2 fragrances from INCENSE. This next one is Aya, this one right here. This was actually in yesterday's video, the champagne fragrances. It's pomegranate and cherry. As I was mentioning in the video, this is, to me, acting a lot like the actual smell you get when you're drinking wine or champagne, that kind of fermented, barrel-aged taste smell, but it's so amplified, but also they have this really intense fruitiness combined with it. So it's almost like you've taken not fruity champagne or a rosé champagne, you've taken a, you know, like a white champagne or clear champagne, and then you've added fruits to it, but it's the kind of champagne that has really strong the oak barrel and fermentation taste to it. So it's super fermented and kind of like the booziness you get with champagne, in addition to like a heavy dosage of like kind of creamy fruits that are like super strong in here. So that is Aya from INCENSE. And then we've got MADA. MADA is this one. I was looking to see where the correct side is for this one. It doesn't have one of those labels. So that's MADA. This, I believe, is a leather with some sweetness, from what I remember. We actually featured one of their fragrances in Mystery Box several mystery boxes ago. Yeah, this is a leather for sure. It's acting very leathery. It's soft and suede-like, and also maybe some earthy notes and some like patchouli-like presence in the base. But it's super dense. Not a lot of freshness up top. Not a lot of like lighter kind of notes. It just immediately goes to the base where all the heavy notes like leather, maybe some sweet vanillic notes. It does act a bit suede-like. It's slightly smoky, but not super animalic. But obviously, it's depends on how much you're tolerant with animalic notes and things like that. To me, this does have somewhat of a similarity to Tuscan leather, but I think this is sweeter. But still, leather is pretty prominent. So that's MADA right there. All right, next we've got two fragrances from the House of Angelos Creations Olfactives. This is the latest E-LECTRON. It's an amber, but I featured it in an amber video recently. I mentioned how I'm picking up a lot of Immortelle. I don't know if you guys are into Immortelle. It is cacao. It's got a lot of Immortelle. It's an amber, it's spicy, but it gives me very much autumn presence. Like Immortelle, whenever I have Immortelle in a fragrance, the flower itself is a dry flower. It's the everlasting flower. It never dies. Because it's dry, it acts very autumn-like, kind of dry, crisp, flowers and leaves and shrubs and things like that. It's really good though, really, really lovely. I do pick up spices, and I feel like it's amber, but there's so much going on in this. It's not just amber, because it takes me into, you know, a lot of the Immortelle direction, and it kind of giving me hints of L'Eau d'Immortelle from Voyage Imaginaire. I don't know if you guys remember that fragrance we featured in the Scent Club kit. This is also having cacao, and that fragrance also has cacao. But this one, I'm not getting a lot of patchouli, whereas that one had also a strong dosage of patchouli. Here, it's nice balance, actually. Really, really complex experience. Spices, dry notes, woods, ambery notes, and of course that touch of cacao that's in here. I guess this is kind of bordering gourmand a little bit, but it's not a gourmand whatsoever. But really wonderful work from Angelos Creations Olfactives. This is E-LECTRON. And then next we've got Narkissos. This was one of the releases from this year. The E-LECTRON is the latest release. Narkissos was launched earlier this year. But this was also in our mystery box recently. It's a super intense take on Narcissus flower. It's animalic. It's quite bold. It's vintage-esque for sure. If you like vintage fragrances, you're going to really dig this one. But yeah, it's highlighting the Narcissus flower. And to me, Narcissus can go into multiple directions. Narcissus is in H24 for the guys from Hermes, but nothing like this. Narcissus is also in the Givenchy Gentleman's Society releases, but nothing like this. This is very vintage style. In fact, I would say this is kind of like very early 80s, feminine to masculine, gender-bending kind of animalic fragrances. Let me know your thoughts. You got this in the mystery box, Narkissos. Add a comment below. We're going to the House of Vogue Profumo. This is Come, or in English it's Come. Who's a fan of this house? Antonia does some very daring fragrances. This has definitely got his signature style. It's daring for sure. To me, without looking up the notes, it's got a lot of dry, dusty spices mixed with more liquidy kind of ambery notes. There's woods here, but for me, it's like this big bowl of spices that you're mixing. And there's not only like, I mean, there's incensey things in there, smoky things, and maybe leathery things in there as well. But it's super potent. I think from what I'm getting from here, it might remind you distantly of something like T-Rex from Zoologist because he created it. But it's not the same. But definitely has that kind of touch to it. But very daring, but enjoyable. It's not like you can't wear it. It's not super animalic. I think Narkissos, the previous fragrance from Angelo's Creations Olfactives, is much more animalic than this. But it's, at least to me it is. I don't know about you guys, but this is, whereas the previous fragrance is more vintage, this one's modern, but like experimental and, you know, daring kind of a release. It's not mass market whatsoever is what I'm trying to say. So that is Come, or Come, from the house of Vogue Profumo. Have you tried that one? Let me know. Okay, let's go to a brand called Sherigan. This is Shanghai Le Soir. You guys familiar with this house? This is a soft, spicy, fruity, juicy, fruity experience. I think the inspiration is nice. It's got a kind of a little bit of a red hot vibe, but it's more softer, more gentler. But there's these red fruits. I think they're highlighting lychee fruit, which I can totally smell in this. And if you, I mean, I've tasted plenty of lychee fruit, so the taste and smell are very linked. And so I'm picking this like really intense take on lychee fruit here. So it's a bit tropical. It's a bit warm, but it's also soft, spicy. I don't know. Is it my favorite kind of fragrance? Not really, but I enjoy this creation, and I love the red bottle. The red bottle is super sexy, I think. And I think it totally captures the theme. And this is an extrait de parfum. They have a fragrance called Fiesta Habana, which I absolutely adore. Love that fragrance. It's a boozy fragrance. And yeah, I'll talk about it more when I do some boozy themed videos. But the next fragrance, going to the house of Commodity. This is Iced. Now, I got to experience Iced in Cannes for the debut of this fragrance. And I think they did a great job on this. Much better than Juice. Juice I didn't care for. This is kind of minty and mango, green mango, but super iced and cold and crisp and frosted. And actually, it smells so good in the heat, and it's smelling great now because even though it's raining out, it is a bit muggy. I think the rain kind of warms up the cool temps because just before it was raining, it was really cold. And this kind of fragrance, the ice cold fragrances, the crisp fragrances, do smell so great when it's warm outside, or at least on the humid, muggy side. So if you like the idea of minty crispness, slightly fruity green, definitely try Iced. I think that'll satisfy. Much better to me, much better than Juice. I prefer that much more than Juice. Juice, as I've complained about, it's not very juicy to me. It's just like a pulpy fruit. So, I mean, I don't know. That's my experience. A lot of people think it's juicy. And also, it's very berry forward. And I don't really drink berry juice. If I'm going to drink juice, it's going to be something citrusy. And it's a lot liquidier. There's no like denseness. And that's what I got from Juice. I got no juice from it. Anyway, let's move on to Costume National's Fiery Amber. Really awesome amber fragrance created by Jean-Christophe Hérault of IFF, who's the perfumer of... He's the perfumer of... Who is the perfumer? He's the perfumer of Aventus, Creed Aventus. Let me know if you're familiar with this. I love this amber. If you're familiar with fragrances like, you know, Grand Soir, Ambre Rousse, Ambre Presso, things like this, Ambre Sultan, you're going to love this. It's a really nicely done amber that's kind of on the mass side, but still it's not like gone too much like a designer, you know, amber, which gets to be too mass. This is really an awesome smelling amber. Very spicy, very warm, resinous, balsamic, vanillic. Great job by Costume National. Now let's hope that they can actually launch the brand again in the USA. Next, we've got the brand Dianum, and this is Japanese whiskey. So if I didn't mention already, but I did mention in the previous video, I don't have access to everything. So this is what I've put my nose on and what I have access to. I did a full review of this one. It's Japanese whiskey, which is something I started drinking ever since I took a trip to Japan. I absolutely love Japanese whiskey. For me, a lot of the Japanese whiskey comes off very pear-like. I guess almost like grappa, but it's smoother in Japan with the whiskeys, whereas grappa can be so overwhelming. And this gives me that kind of an experience. There's a pear-like quality. It's super boozy, and it reminds me of drinking a nice chilled glass of Japanese whiskey. Recently, I discovered some Japanese whiskey that's got a cacao flavor. Oh, I fell in love with it. I forgot the name of the brand, but I'm a big fan of Japanese whiskey for sure. And this gives me the idea of it, especially the fact that I get the pear nuances. And that's what you get here. This is very realistic smelling for a boozy fragrance. Wow, this table is full, guys. I think I'm going to have to get a bigger table for future videos of these deep dives because it fills it up. Like I can't do more than around 60 bottles on the table. And there's about 60 bottles here. All right, next we've got a fragrance from the house of Day 3. It's Desert Rain. You guys familiar with this one? It says that this is some kind of a collaboration, and I don't really know this collaboration. So in the end, this is a bit aquatic, maybe a little ozonic, and kind of dry and dusty as well. So it's kind of like a fusion of a wetness and a dryness together. But there's definitely a lot of aquatic touches, and I think it's very ozonic. And the idea of rain, like dew, is here prominently. More like dew to me. Like it's almost like raindrops on something that I'm smelling. I think the brand is, even though it's an indie brand, they do some great work. I mean, a lot of their fragrances seem like they're done by very professional perfumers, not an indie brand, like something that's a perfumer-owned brand, like it's like a perfumer that it works for a firm or a house, and then the brand comes to, you know, get fragrances made. So I think they do great work there at that house. So that is Day 3 Desert Rain. So I want to highlight this one. I couldn't find any info on anywhere about it, but I'm going to highlight it because I bought this in China at a store, a brand's store called Documents. It's a limited edition fragrance called Snake. It was quite expensive. It's an extrait de parfum, but I'm all about limited edition fragrances, and I wanted to have this because even though some of their fragrances come in bigger bottles, this one to me really stood out as far as the smell goes. Look at this. I love this what do you call it, presentation. So this brand is quite famous in China, and from what I heard, it's not been around for too long. I don't think they've been around for too long, but I fell in love with this because it was in Shanghai near the NUIT Shanghai show. After lunch, we were coming back and there was a store. So we walked in and I checked it out. really fell in love with it, and I wanted to bring back something that was small, small, and something that's exclusive. So, and the scent itself is so awesome. First of all, there is something medicinal, herbal, and camphor wrapped in something smooth and creamy and vanillic. So it's clashing. Like there's a menthol medicinal thing happening with a really nice, creamy, woody, ambery base. That smell is so yum. It's almost like, normally I don't like mint and like a mint candy, because this gives me a little bit of that mint candy vibe. But the way they've done it is it doesn't overwhelm. Like it doesn't smell too much like toothpaste or something overwhelmingly strong. Like Enclave from Amouage, it's mint, but the mint in there does remind me a little bit of too much mint candy. Here, the way it's done, you can separate out the mint, the mintiness or the camphor, because I don't even think it's mint. It's something mint-like. It could be other herbs, or it could be like eucalyptus, something menthol like that. That's, wrapped with this very creamy, not super sweet, but sweet, woody base. That is delicious. I'm hoping that this brand will come to the States. I don't know. Most likely they'll sell at a store like Lucky Scent or something. But yeah, they have so many fragrances. And I went to their store in Shanghai, and also in Beijing near my hotel, there was a document store as well. Not as big as the one in Shanghai, but I was surprised that a brand that has not been around too long is already got several stores in China, which is awesome. All right, had to pause there for a bit, but I am back. Now we are on the second page of a list of fragrances. So we're going into the D section, although I think we might have been in D already. Yes, this is d'Orsay. We've got 2 fragrances from d'Orsay. The House of d'Orsay launched 2 extracts this year. Last year they launched 3. If you recall, Tonka Hysteria has been one of my favorites from this house. We featured it in a scent club kit. A really awesome scent created by Jordi Fernandez. Love the Tonka. Really super sexy, kind of spicy, and a full-on Tonka overdose. Now we've got 2 new fragrances. Rose Blaze, which was actually in our mystery box, our latest mystery box, and Holy Berry. I'm going to talk to you about Holy Berry first. Let me get a strip here. So let me know if you are a fan of this house. I first discovered them in Italy at the Campo Marzio store. I fell in love with their simplicity of their fragrances. It's a classic house that's been resurrected. And the guy who founded the house originally, way back in the 1800s, he's the original dandy. If you guys are familiar with that very first cover of the New Yorker magazine, he's in that kind of outfit. He's got from a side shot with his cane. That's the guy who started d'Orsay. So Holy Berry is a spicy, slightly fruity, and oudi experience here. Lots of spices. Fruits are not over the top, but there's a slight creaminess and light ambery touches in there. And then, of course, woods and oud in the base as well. I think this one's really solid. I think these 2 are solid, but I still prefer Tonka Hysteria, but I do enjoy these more than the other 2 fragrances that were launched with Tonka Hysteria. These are a bit more fun, but both of them I like equally. I still prefer Tonka Hysteria, and I like these 2 more than the other 2 that launched. One of them was Dominique Ropian, and another one was Julien Rascanet. But I know Rose Blaze is Jordi Fernandez. I can't remember who did Holy Berry, though. But let me know if you've gotten your nose on these fragrances. Let's talk about Rose Blaze now, which was in our mystery box. So if you got one of those kits, you would have smelled this one. So this one has a powdery effect as well, but both of them do. This one more. This one has a slight bit of makeup-y feel. There's like a makeup powder effect happening here, but there's a super dense creaminess about it as well. There's spices for sure, and it's not a jammy. It's more like a granular texture here with some creaminess mixed in. So it's super dense, really, really intense, long-lasting fragrance with rose. And I think between the two, the Rose Blaze might be the more popular one, but I don't know. Maybe you prefer the Holy Berry. I like the Rose Blaze. Both of them I like equally. Maybe the Rose Blaze just a tad bit more. But for me, it would be Tonka Hysteria, Rose Blaze, Holy Berry, the Incense by the Incense by Julien Rascanet, and then the floral one by Dominique Ropion. But maybe I'll do a video on all 5 of these extracts. Let me know. Add a comment below. Next, going to the house of LAC. It's Amber K. What an awesome scent this is. It's amber, totally with the DNA that Sonia Constant has in her fragrances, or especially with the brand LAC. And a lot of yummy cocoa dusting on the amber. But I think if you're familiar with the DNA of LAC, you'll really enjoy this one, especially some of the latter fragrances. There's also something nutty happening. It's nutty and chocolatey, almost like hazelnutty, sprinkled like chopped or ground hazelnuts and cacao on top of like this syrupy but dry amber. Really delicious. It's almost like taking amber into a gourmand direction and giving it that kind of slight Nutella kind of vibe. Super yummy. I love this. Really, really gorgeous fragrance by Sonia Constant. This is LAC Amber K. Let me know if you've gotten your nose on that. Then we've got a fragrance by the House of Emirates Pride. It's Master's Signature. So if you recall, these fragrances in this video compared to the last video with 100 fragrances from Niche and Luxury, these are smaller houses, smaller niche houses, maybe some artisanal indie houses mixed in. And so I wanted to separate them and talk about them in different videos. But we're going to do a ranking of 50 chosen from this video, the last video, and then the men's designer video as well. And also, I forgot to mention, if you haven't heard already, I am starting a separate YouTube Shorts channel. If you haven't subscribed to it yet, please go subscribe. I really, it would be great if you did, because I will be starting posting Shorts content there. And I'm going to try and link from there to this channel because the Shorts are separate and I want to keep them separate. And I think algorithmically, it's not a good idea to keep Shorts content on the same channel as a long form content, especially since I do these very long form videos. So if you haven't subscribed to that Shorts channel yet, please do. I have it linked in the info box. Go there and subscribe and stay tuned. Within the next couple of weeks, I'll start posting some Shorts there. But going back to Master's Signature. So I think it's a flanker to the original Masters that the brand launched. It's a kind of a dry, woody, but sweet gourmandesque touches. I think it's Nathalie Lorson and Olivier Cresp. I think they were the original perfumers on the first release. This one has a third perfumer. I can't remember who it is. But once again, it's not super gourmand. It's sweet, it's woody, it's creamy, but you know, it's a not over the top sweetness. It's not like sugary, tooth rotting, creamy, caramel. It's just a nice balance of woods and kind of gourmand notes. So focusing more on the woods, but these are sweet woods. So that is Master's Signature from Emirates Pride. Let me know if you're familiar with that. Up next, we have... Everything is mixed up on the table. While I had the video paused, I removed some, moved over a bunch, and added more. So things are a bit mixed up. So this next one is... It's Ephemeral DIEUX Psychic Vibrations. You guys familiar with this brand? They have a really nice LME resin focused fragrance, which I've actually featured in my LME video. If you are a fan of LME resin, you definitely need to check that fragrance out. Here we've got Psychic Vibrations. I mean, everything about this brand is really cool, but this fragrance has this metallic smoky edge about it. It's almost like lighting a match, and you get that kind of slight electric touch about it, and then it, burns and creates that unique smell. So it's almost like that, plus maybe electric pieces, electrocuting and burning, but it's ambery, it's resinous, it's smoky, and it smells electric to me. But also spicy. I think there's peppery spices in here, giving it that kind of metallic edge. And I think not the label, but the cap gives me a little bit of a reminder of the metallic edge it has. So that's Psychic Vibrations from Ephemeral DIEUX. And then we've got Fast Scents Creme Brûlante. I think you guys should have gotten your nose on this one if you picked up the last mystery box. This has actually turned out to be my favorite from the house, and I have a video shot of their entire collection, which will air soon. It's so super creamy. This is the coziest, like super, it's almost like creme caramel, flan, or something like that, without the crunchy smokiness of the caramel that's been burned off on top. So it's mostly what you get under that hard caramel that's been like burned off on top when you break into, and then there's that softness in there. That's what you get here. It's super creamy, super cozy, really delicious. And it's also not super expensive. I mean, they are 30 ml bottles, so they are quite small, but I think these are under $100 for a 30 ml. So that's Creme Brûlante from the house of Fast Scent. Then we've got this brand called Flues. It's Banana Job. Who's familiar with this? And I know, once you see the name of this fragrance, you're going to know what this one's all about. It's a banana-focused fragrance. Are you guys into the idea of wearing banana as a fragrance yet? I mean, it smells like a banana. Oh, man. So there's something very interesting about this. I've smelled a lot of banana fragrances, and even though this is artificial, they have captured the smell and given you not a super ripe banana, but almost like the green side of the banana with the ripe side of the banana as well. It's quite realistic. It's a kind of simplistic banana smelling fragrance. And some people want to smell like a banana. Do you? Banana Job. Let me know, add a comment below. Next, we've got two fragrances from Francesca Bianchi. So let's talk about the Code of Emotion first. This is a fragrance. I actually shot a video with her earlier this year when this launched. I think we featured this in a mystery box as well earlier this year. It's a really wonderful kind of green, fruity take on a fougere. Lots of kind of lavendery notes in here. Yeah. And also, I think over the years, the Francesca Bianchi DNA has started becoming a little less obvious. This one to me doesn't have the Francesca Bianchi DNA as much. It smells like somebody else did this fragrance, but I know she's been taking, perfumery classes or something that she mentioned. But I think her palette has changed, or she's using less of the DNA of her creations that she used to use, and started doing different things to make the fragrances not so obviously featuring the DNA of the Francesca Bianchi house. But if you are into the idea of a fougere barbershop style fragrance, definitely check that out. It's kind of green. I think it's mango skin, so slightly fruity, but definitely, like shaving cream, lavender, and things like that. So that's the Code of Emotion. Next, we've got Once Upon a Time. This is actually so powdery. Actually, come to think of it, this is the latest release from this house, but I think this one goes back to her DNA. I totally pick it up here. But also, it's kind of gourmand-esque. But her signature orris, iris, kind of animalic, castoreum-y, leathery thing is prominent here. You definitely pick it up. It's super powdery and also very, very concentrated. Whereas the Code of Emotion doesn't have that thickness. This one definitely is prominent. And again, this is the latest, I believe, Once Upon a Time. Does lean gourmand, but I wouldn't call this a gourmand because it definitely reminds me of her offerings, just in a little twist in a different direction. What do you guys think? Once Upon a Time, does it remind you of the Francesca Bianchi DNA? And what about the Code of Emotion? Does that one remind you of the Francesca Bianchi DNA? Let me know, add a comment below. Let's move on to the house of Gravel. Who's familiar with Gravel? So let's talk, well, Gravel has dropped the Gravel out of their bottles and launched 4 extrait de parfums this year. I've got 2 of them here. One of them is called Eau de Aspiration. I have a video on the channel with some of their original fragrances. This is, it's tobacco, but it's fresh. It's musky, it's balsamic, but it almost acts like a second skin rather than like a real full-on fragrance experience, which is kind of sexy. But then you start noticing that, oh, hey, there's the tobacco, there's the, ambery balsamic notes. It's interesting also, this one, the color changed so much. But, it's got fruity notes and leathery notes as well. But the way it's created, it's just, it acts like a second skin. It's like a skin scent, but with complexity that kind of develops over time. So that's Eau de Aspiration. Then we've got Eau de Evolution. This one's a bit more fresh, but still musky and vanillic. These are the first extrait de parfums of the brand. I think the Gravel thing was a bit novelty, and they kind of got rid of the Gravel from the bottles. But yeah, this one is fresh, floral, musky, a bit vanillic, clean. Definitely something I would wear. Both of them I would wear. I like that they're extrait de parfums, but they don't come off super intense. I think those fragrances are meant to be worn and have them evolve on the skin. They're not fragrances that really jump out super strong. Like compared to Francesca Bianchi, which are like in your face intense, there's a subtlety about those, even though they're extrait de parfums. And then we've got a fragrance from the house of VETTII. This is ECLECTIQUE. Who's familiar with this one? Who's a fan of this house? So this one to me, sort of citrusy, very creamy, fruity. What's the word? It's giving me like this kind of creamy, fruity dessert vibes. Oh God, it's the tip of my tongue and I can't think of it. It's a bit more of a classic dessert, but it's acting like a sweet, but not overly sweet, fruity and creamy dessert. There's freshness here, gourmand touches for sure, and of course the fruits. It'll come to me eventually what it reminds me of, but I can't think of it right off the top of my head. But what are your thoughts on ECLECTIQUE? Let me know, add a comment below. And then we have, I think we have a fragrance here that I'm supposed to have. I don't think I have it. Let me pause. When you have too many bottles in front of you, kind of everything gets lost. But this next fragrance from the house of Headspace, it's Rose. So I shot a video of this house, and unfortunately this one falls flat. It launched in 2025, and it's also a Dominique Ropion creation. I just didn't click with this. I don't know why. I felt like it was trying to be something like Queer and Rose from Frederic Malle, created by Jean-Claude Helena, but it wasn't fully going there. But in the end, it's kind of a green vegetal rose. Who's a fan of the brand? I think Santal is probably the most popular from this house, created by Julien Rescanet. What do you guys think of Rose? Do add a comment below. So we've got two fragrances from the house of Hellenist. Are you guys a fan of this house yet? Their most famous fragrance, Le Bras de Morphée, is so amazing, guys. If you haven't tried that, please do. I have a video on the channel. You can go catch that video to check it out. But that fragrance was launched last year. These two are from this year, and both of them are quite good. Let me tell you which one I prefer. We've got La Nuit de... I'm not going to say the 300 in French because I don't know how to say it in French, but this is the latest. It launched in September. It's a Maurice Roussel creation. It's also a musk. I really enjoy it. It's also a bit animalic on skin. This one does have some bitter, like, greenness, but it warms up on the skin more. Almost like kind of spicy green aromatics are thrown in here. I do enjoy this one quite a bit, but my favorite of these two is the previous launch called Le Deux Aubin. Oh my God, it's so good. If at all you want a fragrance that smells like water, this is so good. It's ice cold, clean, fresh, and totally not the kind of fragrances I end up enjoying, but it's really good. It's crystal clean. It's like taking a bath in clean, super clean lake water. And you can smell some of the vegetation. Maybe there's some essences of citruses. It's an awesome scent. Really, really love that one. The line is all really great fragrances. But for me, it's all about Le Bras de Morphée. And then this last one I just spoke about, it's called Le Deux Aubin. Let me know if you've sampled that. It's so good, guys. It's so, so good. All right. So we've got a fragrance from the House of Beau. House of Beau. The House of Beau. It's called Cosmos. Are you guys familiar with this? There's two concentrations. A Parfum concentration and the Eau de Parfum concentration. It is Eau de Parfum, right? Yeah. Wow, it's both of them say Parfum. Weird. All right, let's try this one first. So it's a smoky metallic musky thing. Ooh, that is really strong. It's kind of it's like minerally, gunpowdery, smoky, metallic, musky. Whew. Like the first sniff, it's like over the top. And then eventually it becomes more like amber woody because there's a lot of amber woods in this as well. It could be an acquired taste for some folks. It's not a love it for me. It's not a hate it either. I'm addicted to the smell, but I just don't know if I would wear it. I think it might be similar to when vanilla powder was something I didn't care for and I enjoyed. More importantly, crystal saffron was like so sharp and unbearable, but now I'm addicted to it. Kind of like that with this one. There's something off-putting about it, but I think that was intentional. But behind that off-putting qualities, I like there's an addicting part about it. What are your thoughts on Cosmos by the House of Beau? Let me know, add a comment below. All right, we're going to a house called Ideaux Parfumeurs. We have 3 fragrances from the house created by the perfumers over at Flair. So the first fragrance is, where is it? ASHTA Symphony. This one is created by Margot Lepage-Guerin. There it is. So this brand actually is a Lebanese brand. They kind of fell off the face of the earth for a while. Now they're back. And this is inspired by a Lebanese dessert. ASHTA. It's called ASHTA. It's a yummy dessert. So it's got pistachio, like orange blossom, white flowers. It's super creamy and super delicious. Love that. And it reminds me of the dessert because I grew up eating it. So that's ASHTA Symphony. And then we've got Baklava Bliss. And everybody knows what baklava is. This one's actually not created by Margot. It's created by Camille Chamardin. Camille did Lumari's Porthole, which is probably the most popular of Lumari's fragrances. Yum. Kind of doughy, but creamy, a little nutty and syrupy, but super gourmand. It's not like super sweet either. It's like a nice balance. Yeah, we've got, typically there's pistachios and the syrup, the simple syrup that goes over the baklava. In the Middle East is not honey. It's a simple syrup made with sugar and orange blossom. So you've got all that stuff in there as well. Let me know if you guys have discovered this house. My favorite fragrance of this house is Prison Blues. It's been a while since I've spoken about the brand. But Prism Blues, that's what it is, I believe, is my favorite. Last one is a trio of fragrances inspired by Lebanese dessert. It's Mamoul Mon Amour. This is also Margot Lepage-Guerin creation. It's right there. I did a video with Margot and Sarah Baker because Margot did Sarah Baker's latest fragrance of Velvet Vendetta, which she also did the latest even further is Vava Vanilla. So we shot a video together in Cannes. But this one is the nuttiest of them all because this dessert is super nutty. It's spicy, it's doughy, but lots of nuts. And according to this, it's got dates and pistachio, nuts, sesame, pine, nutmeg. This one's yummy. This is probably my favorite of the 3. Mamoul Mon Amour. Those of you that are Lebanese, have you ever had, I'm sure you have had Mamoul. It's a super yummy kind of like a cookie more than anything. But the other two obviously are more like dessert. So those are 3 fragrances from IDEO Parfumeur. This next one is Imaginary Authors, A Little Secret. This is... A Little Secret is their take on a cherry fragrance. It has Rainier cherries, marzipan, patchouli, saffron, demerara sugar, rum-soaked tonka, and pastry crust. And for a cherry fragrance, it's super yummy. It doesn't smell like lost cherry, like all other cherry fragrances somehow end up smelling. And I don't think Imaginary Authors is known for gourmands, but they did a great job here with this. There's a dark and syrupy molassesy thing happening in here as well. Imagine you're making a cherry pie and you have to pour over that molasses or syrupy thing to cook the whole thing together to make it sweeter. And you got that captured here. Maybe it's from the demerara sugar, which is what's written on the back. Rum-soaked tonka, also kind of boozy. So that's Imaginary Authors, A Little Secret. So we're done with the second page. Now off to the third page, and we're starting off with Infiniment Coty's Ambre Antique. I decided to put this here because I kind of ran out of space in the other video. Also because it's a limited edition, and I don't know how many people were able to get their nose on this. It comes in a limited edition bottle, obviously. I have a feeling they're going to bring this back as a regular bottle. But I have number 737 of 1905. I bought this from Bloomies. They sent me a nice collection of samples. It was expensive, but they were having a sale. I knew this was coming, and I'm happy to have it. It is an amber. It is more classic. The original of this launched in 1905. That's why they only did 1905 bottles. So this is number 737 of 1905. It's on the animalic side, by the way, guys. I can smell it right now. I've already sprayed it. It's pretty animalic. It is a parfum concentration, and I think they basically recreated how the original fragrance would have smelled back then. Obviously, there's restrictions now with the different ingredients, so modernized, but still, it smells pretty classic, and I love it. So there's animalic fragrances, and there's animalic fragrances that were done back then. I think sometimes some people that really love animalic fragrances and they want to make, or I don't know, sometimes animalic fragrances are just overdone to the max, and I can't tolerate those. It's just too much. But, you know, just the right touch of it, right amount. There's fragrances that I love that are like animalic. Like here, one of my favorites is Salome from Papillon Perfumery. Very classic, reminds me of the fragrance Bala Versailles from Jean Desprez, but a much more modern take on it. I love that fragrance, and I love this here too. Just the right amount of animalics, but I think people that don't have experience with it might think it's a bit off-putting and too much. Next, we've got a fragrance from the house of Jacques Fath. This is Musc Couture. Let me know if you're familiar with this one. So this is a fruity take on musk. It's a very clean fragrance. This is also in our latest mystery box, by the way. It's created by Jean-Christophe Hérault, which we spoke about, Costume National's Fiery Amber, same perfumer. I have a video on the channel of he and I talking about this and some of his other creations. Go catch that video. But super clean musk, fruity, but it's not a, I wouldn't say this is like, the fruits in here don't come off super fruity, I should say. It's a neutered fruitiness. It's there to help the musks along, and the musks in here are more of the clean, laundry, soapy variety. Yeah, I love it. I'm a musk lover. I love musks, and I also love animalic musks and clean musks, and this is totally on the clean side. So that's Musc Couture from Jacques Fath. Next, we've got A fragrance from the house of Juicebox. This is London Hall. So London Hall is a celebration of Harrods. This is an exclusive fragrance. I don't know if it's going to get a worldwide release. I can't tell for sure. But it's got that Harrods green color bottle. It's paying tribute to the halls of Harrods plus the gardens of London. So it's a lot of flowers with a lot of leather. Created by Julian Rascanet once again. So there's already 2 leather fragrances of Juicebox that are created by Julian Rascanet. This one smells totally different from the other 2. I almost feel like this is kind of a combo of the other 2, Black Powder, and I forgot the name of the other. But it's pretty robust and intense. And the leather is kind of suede leather-like, so not so super animalic, but on the creamy side. But I think we're getting the creaminess from the flowers that are featured here. So that's London Hall. Are you familiar with that one? Those of you that live in London, did you get your nose on that? Next, we've got... Oh, wait. Yeah, one more. We've got a fragrance from the house of Korloff. This is Ombre Obsession. Ombre Obsession. Let me know if you're familiar with Korloff. So this amber is super spicy, warm spicy, and a bit tobacco-ish. I would say it slightly hints at something tobacco vanille-like, but they're not identical. But there's some faint reminders. This is smoky in comparison to tobacco vanille. There's a smoky quality about it, ashy. So it's full-on amber on the dark side, but hinting a little bit at warm, spicy, almost like chai tea, warm, spicy, slightly fruity, vanillic, you know, tobacco vanille touches with the amber. Who's familiar with this house? Let me know. It's Korloff. I love that logo, the way they write Korloff. Next, we've got a Korean house called La Persona. This is Whispering Kiss. Who's familiar with this? This is sweet and ambery and spicy and creamy and fruity. There's like an apple fruitiness in here. I can see the name totally with this one. It's almost like an apple kiss. Yeah, the apple is really fun in this. It's kind of warm and cuddly, but also vibrant and lively because of the juiciness of the appley touches in here. There's a familiar smell about it. Where have I smelled this? A reminder, which makes it a bit more addicting. Like you want to find out, trying to figure out where this smell comes from. And I think the apple has a lot to do with it, or something appley in here. Let me know if you guys are familiar with Whispering Kiss from La Persona. Are you guys familiar with this house? It's a Korean house. It's also an X-rated parfum, so it's a super long-lasting fragrance. I told you this this video has a lot of brands that you might not be familiar with. So let's go to the house of Le Galion. This is Au Fol, a Julian Rascanet creation that I really, really adore. It's about cypress. It's aromatic and spicy, but also kind of junipery. So clean, crisp, metallic, ice cold. Fougere-like. It's so good. It's very masculine offering. There's not a lot of warmth in this. It's a lot of aromatics and woods and spices. So if you're kind of turned off with warm notes, maybe this is something you might, check out. It does give you barbershop vibes, but it doesn't smell like a traditional barbershop fougere like fragrance. It's more aromatic and spicy, but so good. And clean and crisp, like I said as well. Cool and crisp. With the most gorgeous bottle. This is Les Galions Eau Folle. This bottle is created by Pierre Dinan. All right. So we've got 3 fragrances from the house of L'Entropiste. So this is the brand that Bertrand Duchaufour launched. If you haven't caught my video, please go catch it with Bertrand. Okay. Let's see. Okay, first fragrance is Altamura. The inspiration for this is very, very interesting. I think you can catch that video to find out more about it. But in a nutshell, this is about incense and resins with oranges. And it really works. I think Bertrand is known for incense, especially for Comme des Garçons' incense series. I believe he did he do Kyoto and also Avignon? I know he did Avignon. He's only done 2 of the fragrances in that collection of 5, but he's done a lot of incensey fragrances for L'Artisan, maybe even Penhaligon's, and it's a given he did this. I really dig this one. The orange is sweet, not tart, and it really nicely blends with the resinous smoky qualities of the incense. So that one is Altamura. So I'm highlighting the 3 that I really love from the house. So then we've got Dawn Whispers. Dawn Whispers is created with all synthetic notes, and I absolutely love it. So it's musky, powdery, smoky, incensey, and clean at the same time. And there's spicy touches, like peppery touches in here. Really, really wonderful. And once again, when you smell Altamura, you kind of have a similar idea of the similar direction. So it's getting smoky, but I would say it's smoky in a mineral way. Even metallic. Great stuff. Dawn Whispers. Let me know if you're familiar with it. Let me know if you want me to do a whole review of the entire collection of this series of fragrances. And my favorite, hands down, is Semence Douce. Go catch that video with Bertrand going over the fragrances. He'll explain what Semence Douce is all about. So this, to me, smells like a florist shop. Super green. And it's powdery. It's green. It's violet. It's almond milk. But, you know, I think this might come off a bit strange to people. And then after you hear his story, you can be like, what? But I love it. It's different in an addicting way. It's powdery and cozy and a bit milky, but also green because it's got this kind of tulip. But I'm picking up like green stems and green flowers in a florist shop mixed in with all those powdery, milky, you know, touches. So that is Semence Douce. Anyway, let's move on to Lorenzo Pazzalia. Who's a fan of Lorenzo Pazzalia? I've got 2 here to talk to you about. First of which is called Green Island. Is this going to be a green fragrance? So I was thinking this might go extremely marine, but it doesn't, thankfully. For me, it goes very aromatic and green vegetation with a similar DNA of Lorenzo Pazzalia fragrances. Like, I think they have a certain DNA. You can recognize one from the other. Not with all of them, but some. This has citruses too. It's fresh, but super green. A little menthol, also vegetation and fresh. But these are extrait de parfum fragrances, so these are really highly concentrated. Sometimes they come off synthetic as well, but that's Lorenzo Pizzaglia's Green Island. Now, it does say it's something exclusive for somebody. So look up that one. And then this is Kechimba. Kechimba. Who's a fan of the house? Let me know. Add a comment below. Whoa. This is like mango to the max. Ooh, super green. Yeah, I have to be honest, I'm starting to not like mango in fragrances. I don't know why. There is something creamy and gourmand behind all that greenness of the mango. Chocolate? Is it chocolate I'm getting? It's not bad. I think the initial blast of a lot of mango to hit your nose is a bit overwhelming. Then it gets a little better, but still it's mango. Who's a fan of mango? I don't know. I think I have a love-hate relationship with mango lately. I don't hate, I mean, I like most other fruits, but mango is starting to bother me for some strange reason. Has that happened to you guys? All right, we've got 2 fragrances from the house of Maison Mataha. We've got, let's do Pêche Velour first. Maybe the Pêche Peach trend is kind of also getting boring for me. I shot a video of this fragrance with a few other fragrances from this house. This was not my favorite. I prefer the other one that I'm going to talk to you about, and I don't have the third one that came out this year. This peach fragrance is kind of glossy and shiny, candied peach. It's almost like a peach lozenge. Behind it, there's something ambery, sticky. Pêche Velour, velvety smooth, I guess, right? Who's a fan of Maison Mataha's Pêche Velour? This next one is actually super awesome. I love it. Printemps Blanc, really, really awesome scent. This is clean, orange blossom, slightly sweet, but I like that creaminess and the sweetness, and of course the orange blossom, which is the star, or maybe it's neroli. And it has slight green nuances, but they've kind of hidden it, but it kind of comes out a little bit, especially on skin. But I like that it's also kind of musky. I love the cleanness about this. There's something angelic about it, which I like. I mean, hands down, orange blossom neroli is one of my favorite notes, so this is a given. I would enjoy this. But I like how soft and edited this fragrance is. Like, they've done a great job with the way they have created it. So that is Printemps Blanc, White Spring, I guess it translates to. All right, next we're going to the house of Maison Violette, and I've got 3 fragrances here, including On Air d'Apogée Extrait de Parfum. I know some of you are asking me to do a comparison of the original, so I think I might do that eventually because they don't smell anything alike to me. None. Have you guys compared? We're going to start off with California Blossom first. This is an eau de parfum. Oh, it's a parfum, it says. Yeah, it's a parfum concentration. Ooh, it's clean. And I love it. It's, once again, orange blossom, but slightly sweet. a little green, very floral and creamy. I like its intensity. It's a Nathalie Lorson creation. They use mostly Nathalie Lorson for most of their fragrances. But this, just like Printemps Blanc, actually, a little different, but a lot thicker. You know, you can experience the thickness, and the concentration is a lot more dense in comparison to the Printemps Blanc. This one also might be a bit creamier. There might be a bit more vanillic notes in the base. But that's super awesome. California Blossom by Maison Violet. Then we've got Rivage. Who's familiar with this? I've worn quite a bit of En Air d'Apogée, not these two. I mean, En Air d'Apogée Extrait de Parfum. This one to me is a bit on the marine aquatic side, but not too strong that you can't wear it. It's also a bit beachy. In fact, in the south of France, I think there's a place called Beau Rivage. I think in Nice. I've traveled in the south of France quite a bit, but I just don't remember what Rivage means. If anybody has an idea, add a comment below. I like this. I actually really like this house. I think they did some changes with their bottles, obviously, which is, at first I didn't really like the bottles, but I kind of like them now. They're simple, modern. The previous bottles, I guess, were also a bit wobbly, and I dropped them a couple times. Thankfully, they didn't break. So these are not as wobbly bottles, thankfully. And I actually like both of these fragrances from Maison Violet. Still prefer En Air d'Apogée as my favorite, followed by a few others. And so let's go to En Air d'Apogée Extrait de Parfum. Who's gotten their nose on this? See, I've worn quite a bit of it. And to me, I think it has traces of the original, but it's a new fragrance. It's a new fragrance. It's not as sweet as the original. It's also a lot more, it's giving me Middle Eastern fragrance vibes. And the amber woods have been intensified. I prefer the original. I prefer the original. Wait, no, well, I prefer the original, but I don't hate this. I like it too. If I have to put them side by side and decide which I prefer more, I go with the original because I like the original. It's super sexy. This one eventually starts smelling like the original, but it's so different when you first spray it. I think what is different about this is the mimosa's honey-like qualities has been removed. I mean, eventually they come on the scene, but you're not hit with it like you are with the original. So I think it's solid. I still prefer the original, but if you want something a little different, definitely try the Extrait de Parfum version of En Air d'Apogée. And let me know if you want me to do a full comparison of those two fragrances. Okay. Next, we've got a fragrance from the house of Maître Parfumeur Gantier. It's Ambre Capucine. Let me know if you've sampled this fragrance. So I featured this in the Amber 2025 fragrances video. I mentioned in that video that this is kind of like a cross between Ambre Presso and Ambre Mythique. So it's Ambre Mythique, Ambre Presso, which is kind of like Ambre Capucine. So basically, it's an amber. It has some of the powderiness of the Ambre Mythique because I think Ambre Mythique is super powdery in comparison to Ambre Presso. And Ambre Presso is powdery too, but it has that kind of glossy, syrupy amber qualities more than Ambre Mythique does. For me, when you compare them side by side, Ambre Mythique is super spicy and super powdery. But here, I think we've got a nice fusion of the two other fragrances. Once again, it's resinous, it's balsamic, it's super spicy, it's aromatic, a little vanillic, but also very powdery as well. So that is Ambre Cappuccine. So that's the latest from Maître Parfumeur Gantier. Then we've got Amanda's from Manos Guerrakinis. So this is a new gourmand fragrance from Manos Guerrakinis. It's a nutty gourmand. Sweet, powdery, bitter, almondy, nutty, and amber woody in the base. I like this one. I just think I prefer Methexis and Immortelle still a bit more than this. But, I mean, Methexis is super awesome. I featured that in a Scent Club kit, of the original Scent Club kit. I just love that fragrance. This, I think, you need your skin for the nuances to come out further. Immortelle is also really, really great. This would be number 3 if I'm ranking those 3 fragrances. But I think this might appeal to somebody else more than it's appealing to me. So that is Amanda's from Manos Guerrakinis. Let me know if you're familiar with that. Then we've got Miller Harris Legato. Are you guys familiar with Legato? Who's familiar with Miller Harris? Legato is a sweet, honeyed, ambery gourmand. I don't know what it is about this fragrance. I get olives. I mean, I consume a lot of olives, especially when I go to my mom's. But there's something olive-like here. But it's a gourmand. I mean, she does make olive cake. Olive oil cake, actually. I think this is more suited for the skin. There's cherry here. And I think something in here is giving me, for some strange reason, like a slight bitterness. And that's what's kind of triggering an olive memory. Not the oil, though. It's just the fruit itself. I think it's the bitterness. There's something bitter that comes in here that gives me that. Who's familiar with this? This is Legato from the House of Miller Harris. And then finally, the last fragrance on this page is Latte Pistachio from New Notes. Let me know if you're familiar with this one. So this is a bunch of different latte-themed fragrances from New Notes. This is the pistachio. There's something grassy in this and green. It's also not super sweet. For some reason, it's either acting a bit like matcha or mate with pistachio. So there's a bit of a tea vibe. There's a grassy consistency. And I think I get that usually from, you know, notes like matcha or mate. It's an herbal grassiness. It could just be the pistachios. Again, it's not super sweet. I kind of thought it would be much more nutty. It's totally enjoyable, though. A pistachio fragrance that goes into a different direction. It doesn't act much like a latte, I should say, though. So that's Latte Pistachio from the House of New Notes. So we're going to second to the last page. So I featured this fragrance in our mystery box from late August, early September. This is a brand new house called Never Again. This is Well, first of all, I didn't feature this one. This next one is the one after this I did. This is Festival. Festival is super powdery, dusty, foggy, whatever. So there's a little bit, it's vetiver, but there's a little bit of a gunpowdery effect happening. So it's a bit minerally metallic. But behind it all, it does sweeten up, but not in a sugary gourmand way at all. It's just something sweeter in there that blossoms. So I've shot a video with the founder of that brand that should launch within the next month. So stay tuned for that. It's a very new independent house. Festival is really awesome. It's definitely more masculine leaning than the other fragrance I'm gonna highlight here. It's called Lacquerly. It's so delicious. This one is definitely one of the best gourmands of 2025. I absolutely love it. And if you're Swiss, you would know what a Lacquerly is. And basically they've taken that sweet treat into a dessert direction. So it's a bit toasty, it's a bit nutty, it's warm, spicy, it's ambery, vanillic, super delicious. You have also a sweet and savory side here, which I think it's definitely something that exists in the actual treat itself. So anybody that's used to the fragrances that are like recent, popular fragrances that are more like savory gourmands might kind of connect with this, because there is a salty side, a savory side to this, and also a very sweet side as well. And I think they've totally captured the Lacquerly's qualities here in a gourmand fragrance. So it's sweet, it's warm, spicy, it's vanillic and ambery, but it's also salty. So that's Lacquerly from Never and Again, sorry. And then we've got 3 fragrances from the house of Pear Noir. Who's familiar with Pear Noir? First, we're going to talk about Anello. It's funny. The perfumer for Never and Again and the perfumer for Pear Noir is the same perfumer. Go figure. Back to back. Is Andreas Wilhelm. I'm sorry I didn't mention the name, but this to me has a very mass appealing smell. I think the brand probably needed something like this in their collection. I'm reminded of Aventus and Hachivat. So it's fruity, it's mossy, woody. It's a bit screechy and metallic and cool and crisp as well. So it leans masculine. So that is Anello. Whoops. And then we've got Melos. Let me know if you're familiar with Melos. So I should show you the back of these bottles too. They have a nice little... Ooh, this one's powdery. Whoa. Whoa. Whoa, this is super strong. Almost like honeyed smoke. Wow. It's honey and smoke and lots of powder together. Maybe a bit leathery, lots of woods, spices. But for sure, smoke, honey, incense is what I'm getting right off the bat. So it definitely gets ambery, but it's so overwhelming. These are Extrait de Parfum fragrances. I don't know if that's focusing. And then last but not least, a daring one. It's Udian. This one's on the animalic side of oud, guys. There's funk along with this bottle. Ooh, I could smell it already. It's funny, those two, the last two, are super strong. Anello was not, but maybe because that DNA I'm so familiar with. I mean, I'm not saying that it's not potent, but I think these two are quite overwhelming, the last two. And this last one, it's a fruity animalic oud. Whoa, it's strong. Really, really strong. Oh, God. There's a lot of funk there. But it's also powdery. There's major powdery qualities about this. These two, the last two. Why am I getting bananas, though? That's strange. Is there bananas in Udian? So it doesn't literally smell like banana. It's giving me like a banana vibe, I should say. So I don't think there's bananas as a note, but something is triggering like a banana vibe in here. Anyway, that's Udian. Let me know if you're familiar with Udian. Then we've got two fragrances from a Korean house. Where are they? Here. So one of them was featured in our Scent Club mystery box, but this one has not. But this is really great. It's Orris Cocoon. This is a Parfum concentration. Any Orris Iris lovers must get their nose on this one, guys. It's so good. So good. I actually discovered it at Petit Fragranza, and I had to have some samples. I was wearing it throughout my trip. It's an iris that's powdery and bright and ethereal, but behind it there is something earthy and grounding as well. Slight rosiness in there and a little bit of freshness. I think there's a light trace of buttery qualities as well, but it's so powdery and fluffy, airy. It's quite good. This is really, really great. That is Orris Cocoon. Yeah, it's definitely cocooning. And then finally, it's Oud Nights. This was actually the fragrance that was featured in our mystery box recently. Let me know your thoughts. This one, it's not animalic like the Pear Noir. This is definitely easy to wear, in the same ballpark of fragrances like Oud Wood from Tom Ford. But of course, this is a Parfum concentration. It's a very enjoyable oud fragrance, for sure. Spicy. Maybe there's some traces of some flowers, but it's more about the woods and spices and the oudiness. It's an oud accord. It's not a real oud. And I don't know what kind of oud they're using in Udian. It could be an oud accord as well, and it could be like, animalic notes added to it. But for sure, the Oud Nights is an oud accord. All right, so that's Oud Nights from Pesad. Are you guys familiar with this house? I've got a fragrance from a house called Pigmentarium. This is Brutal. So going back to tuberose once again. So I'm enjoying modern tuberose fragrances, not really appreciating classic tuberose. This is a super modern tuberose offering with light classic touches. It's kind of creamy and buttery for the tuberose, and also a bit green, so it's not fully bloomed and matured. But it's gorgeous. If you're a fan of tuberose, this is really wonderful. But just keep in mind, it's got that kind of green traces a little bit. And of course, on skin, the creaminess comes through. And for me, I get like white flowers, especially gardenia, magnolia, and tuberose gives me a super creamy effect, which kind of makes it kind of cozy, you know? So that's Brutal. I'm not sure if it's Brutal, but that's definitely super gorgeous tuberose offering from Pigmentarium. Let me know if you're familiar with that house. So next we've got Plume Impressions Love No Shame. So Love No Shame is the latest offering from Plume Impression. We have featured their Murmure d'été in our Scent Club kit. But this is a gourmand that's creamy, chocolatey, but white chocolate, and fruity with cherries and strawberries. So we're not getting chocolate, but we're getting the creaminess from the white chocolate. And I've told this in videos, I don't like consuming white chocolate for some strange reason. It's not my favorite. For some reason, it's too sweet for me. I kind of like a nice balance of milkiness and dark chocolate together. But what I like about the white chocolate here, it lends its creaminess to the fragrance, and it's super cozy, super cozy. I think there's some light boozy touches and spices along the way, but for me, it's the white chocolate's creaminess and how the fruitiness is melted together with it. The fruits in this also provides a slight freshness. It's almost like there's warmth with the creaminess and a little bit of freshness with the fruit. So that's Love No Shame from Plume Impression. Then we've got Reinvented's Lucid Dream. This is super saffron forward. And I think this color is super appropriate for saffron. Although saffron can, well, actually, the flower itself is purple, but the actual pistils are kind of more like the color of this. And when you put your nose to this, it's like saffron balm, which I like. But it also comes off leathery for sure. Saffron, they make that leathery, touch to the fragrances. And then, of course, it's metallic. There's a sharpness about it. Almost like a steel wool pad. You know how that is? That like metal-y kind of like hairs. There's a little bit of that feeling with saffron. So it's almost like fabric, but metal-y, kind of metallic. But this is like super strong that way. I think the saffron is like overdosed here. So it creates not only leather, but it also creates that metallic, like steel wool pad-like effect here. But it's really good. Saffron Bomb. Let me know if you guys want me to do a saffron deep dive. So also, I think Crystal Saffron, I don't know. I think the saffron in it does remind me a little bit of the saffron and Crystal Saffron, but they're different fragrances, whereas this is super leathery. I don't think that one is leathery. That one's more amber woody, I believe. So anyway, that's Lucid Dream from Reinvented. Then we've got Rosendo Matu's number 9. It's wood, osmanthus, and vanilla. Who's a fan of osmanthus? Who's a fan of Rosendo Matu? This actually is quite good. I don't think it's as strong as number 5, but I like the combination of the vanilla and the woods. The osmanthus maybe providing a slight leathery effect. I'm not getting too much fruitiness because usually you either get fruits from it, like stone fruits like apricot or leather. But maybe there's a light trace of fruits in here with a little bit of leather against the woods and the vanilla. So it's ambery, it's amber woody, it's spicy, leathery, fruity. I think it's good. Not as strong as number 5 though. So that's number 9 from Rosendo Matu. All right, we've got 3 fragrances from Sarah Baker, first of which is Prism Head. What are your thoughts about Prism Head? Prism Head is a Miguel Matos creation. Let's see. I think Sarah Baker does put names of perfumers on fragrances. And it's super earthy and also very like patchouli. I mean, patchouli is an earthy note to begin with. And what they've done here is combined the soil tincture-like earthy smell with a lot of patchouli. So this is a very daring fragrance. I don't think it's a very conventional fragrance. It's not something that's mass appealing, but I really like the way it smells. It's not easy to wear though, honestly, I have to say, but it's really great to smell. For me, it's not easy to wear. But I like its earthiness. It's super earthy, as I said. So that is Prism Head from Sarah Baker. And then, so there's a brand new fragrance that's being launched in addition to Velvet Vendetta, which I did a video with Sarah Baker and Margot Lepai-Goren about. You can see her name here. Perfumer over at Flair. So this new one's called Vava Vanilla. And I've got a little, tiny little bottle here. Tiny. It's tiny. This is a tiny little bottle. It's super cute. So I've been testing it out, but it's been a while since I tested it out. So let's go ahead and this is how much I've used. So this looks like Sarah Baker is doing a trilogy once again. She did the peach trilogy, and now we've got a vanilla trilogy. I'm not sure what we have in the notes breakdown here, but they're, once again, Sarah Baker's fragrances are not like super mass appealing. She does throw in some unusual things. And I think personally, I prefer Velvet Vendetta over Vava Vanilla, but this might grow on me. It's vanillic, but it's not super gourmand. Let's try Velvet Vendetta. Velvet Vendetta, I pick up the DNA of Margot Lepai-Goren's work a lot more. And for me, the inspiration is super like the character in Blazing Saddles, the prostitute or the saloon singer. It's totally inspired by her, I think. Here, I prefer Velvet Vendetta over because I pick up the DNA of the work of Margot Lepai-Goren. So it's spicy, it's gunpowdery, I believe. I think there's some booziness in here as well. And once again, it's a vanilla, but it's not like a super gourmand vanilla. Let me know if you've gotten your nose on Vava Vanilla. I love the name. But this is Velvet Vendetta. Up next, we've got two fragrances from Scentillogia. This is LAC.TON.IC. Did you guys get your nose on this one? So LAC.TON.IC fragrances have become more and more popular throughout the years. I think my very first experience was Remember Me. Not necessarily my very first experience, but my very first big loves of LAC.TON.IC fragrances. Remember Me by Javoy. I think they've taken LAC.TON.IC into a direction of really smelling like creamy, milky, you know, LAC.TON.IC fragrances. Here, there's a kind of a spiciness about it, and also a lot of amber woods. But there's a major cozy, creamy quality with this one because it acts like milk. And milk is super comforting. That smells really good. But I can see some people not liking LAC.TON.IC fragrances. Are you a fan? Let me know. Add a comment below. If you don't like it, why do you not like LAC.TON.IC fragrances? And if you do, let me know, what are your favorite lactonic fragrances? But the next fragrance from the same house, it's Woody Lang 2, something like that. I don't like these very creative, I don't know what I'm supposed to say this fragrance is. Woody Lang 2? Woody 2 Lang? I don't know. So my favorite Ylang Ylang fragrance for the longest time is Ylang 49 from Le Labo but there's another, I'm forgetting the name of the fragrance, one sec. But once I got my nose on Maison du Roc's Ylang d'Or, that became my favorite. But honestly also, Maison du Roc's Ylang d'Or compared to Ylang 49 by Le Labo are night and day difference. Ylang 49 by Le Labo is like an old school classic, almost like Clinique's Aromatics Elixir Ylang focused fragrance, versus Ylang d'Or by Maison du Roc is like Ylang Ylang, tropical, creamy, banana-ish, beachy goodness. So they're totally different. This Ylang Ylang is super clean and a bit creamy, like almost like a unripened banana, but very tropical, slightly beachy, and also woody. But there's a clean quality about this, and I think it's because it's kind of going green. I mean, usually I get warmth from Ylang Ylang, but not this time. All right, that is Woody Lang. I think it's maybe the woods are creating that creaminess. All right, so we've got another fragrance created by Margot Lepai-Gourand. This is Zora Dora's Lubu. So I thought this was going to be a fairly popular fragrance, but I think it's turned out to be a bit polarizing. What do you guys think? So this is, the inspiration is interesting. It's sort of inspired by a few things. One of them is the Papier d'Harmonie, the incense that they have in France, the little papers created with benzoin. So it's quite smoky and resinous and ambery and smoky. It's sweet, but not super gourmand. It's just basically a lot of resins and amber together with a smokiness. There's a slight toasty quality about it. Almost burned, toasty crispness. Not nutty, but like rice, almost like rice. But it's a semi-sweet, resinous, ambery, smoky experience. So I think it's become a bit polarizing. What are your thoughts on Lubu? I quite like the smell myself. But it's not one of the ones from this brand that I'm totally wowed by, but I enjoy the way it smells. So next we've got a fragrance from the house of Spaterno called Barbicaja. Let me know if you're familiar with this. Created by Christopher Sheldrake, who does all of the fragrances for Serge Lutens. I do have a video finally shot going over the entire collection from samples, so I hope to air that soon. But to me, this was such a joyful fragrance. Spring greens to the max, with some sweetness behind the scenes, a little candy-like sweetness, but like major green stems, green flowers together in a big bouquet that you're smelling. You get the floral touches and also the greenness of the flowers and their stems. It's like spring in a bottle. Really gorgeous. Let me know if you're familiar with Spaterno's Barbicaja. Then we're going to the house of Sultan Pasha. Let's see if these are correct in the alphabetical order. Yes. First of which is Joyeux. Really awesome old school style men's cologne. I'm thinking Chanel Pour Monsieur and YSL Pour Homme. Is that cologne? Yeah, YSL Pour Homme, yeah. So it's very astringent with the lemony touches, but also very aromatic and spicy. It smells really great, but it does have old school vibes to it. It's soapy clean though, soapy clean. Takes me back, like literally I can smell this, my dad wearing something like this. It might even remind a little bit of Pierre Cardin Pour Monsieur. Although I visualize that bottle more than the smell, but maybe it's kind of got similar vibes. But this is so good, so good. Anybody into classic fragrances is probably gonna like this. All right, so that's Joyeux. Next, we're on the last page finally. Irissoir. Who's familiar with this? I have a full video on the channel of all 4 fragrances from Sultan Pasha Perfumes. This to me is a very raw iris focused fragrance. Texturally, this is super concentrated and you really have that buttery quality, but there are animalic qualities about it. I think it's because of the rawness. It's almost like unfiltered, but super dense, vegetal, creamy, buttery, and green. Unfiltered, unadulterated, totally. And it's got animalic qualities, but I don't think it's like super animalic. It's interesting how fragrances develop over time. When I did my video on these fragrances, I think what has happened is the fragrances did mature. This is definitely quite daring. I think this is the most daring in the bunch. It also reminds me a little bit of Jacques Fat's Iris de Fat, I think it's called. Or is it Iris Gris? That's the original. I think the new one's called Iris de Fat, I think. It reminds me of that. Super buttery, but very raw and unfiltered iris. I'm enjoying it, but still kind of got like challenging qualities about it. And then this is Thebes. Wait, no, that's the last. First, I'm going to talk to you about Quintessentially Amber. I love this. This is so good. My favorite of the 4. Not because it's an amber, but why does it smell like sandalwood? Why does it smell like Mysore sandalwood? Why does it remind me of Guerlain's Samsara back in 1991 or 2 when I bought a bottle for my mom? It's so good. So good. It's super creamy, but slightly medicinal. It's woody, spicy, and of course, amber and resins. That's super gorgeous. Love that. That's Quintessentially Amber. I love that fragrance. And then we've got Thebes. Thebes is the vetiver in the collection. This is also, this one and Irissoir are the ones that seem to be unfiltered, raw, in your face. But this one is not as challenging as Iris-Soir. This is kind of dark, damp, humid, moldy vetiver. I mean, I'm not saying moldy in a bad way. I mean, there's definitely like the aged quality about it. Again, as I said, unfiltered, unadulterated. These are pretty raw experiences for some of these fragrances. And when you're doing a mass market fragrance, you're going to filter all of the impurities out. But this is like they've kept it as is, and this is how vetiver is, or it can be. But it's deep and rooty, like intensely rooty, way down in the depths of the earth. So it does have some slight funk, but really good, really great work. So that's Thebes. That's the last of the Sultan Pasha Perfumes fragrances. So we've got a couple of fragrances from Swiss Arabian. Let's talk about Incense 01 first. I thought this came out late last year, but I guess it's come out this year. I'm a little confused. This to me does remind me a little bit of a smoky incense take on Shagaf Vanilla Toffee. I don't know if that's happening to you guys or not, but taking incense into a sweeter direction. But I wouldn't say this is super gourmand. I think there's traces of something like Shagaf Vanilla Toffee. In fact, I think the two can layer really nicely together if you want to have a little smokiness with your Shagaf Vanilla Toffee. But in the end, it's incense, smoky, resinous, and sweet and spicy. It's warm spicy for sure. It's a good one. The incense is nice. Incense 01 from Swiss Arabian. And then we've got Swiss Arabian's Amber, well, I think, yeah, Shagaf Amber Infusion. And I mentioned in another video, this is quite a dark amber. The color of that is what I get from this fragrance. Super resinous, dark and smoky. Spicy. Warm. Almost charred. But not like burned. Maybe a bit leathery as well. Anyway, that is Shagaf Amber Infusion. So I think this is probably, I don't know how many Shagaf fragrances have they done. They've done quite a bit. So many. Okay, next we're going to the House of Tower Perfumes. And the only two that I have here to talk about are the Rose Absolute and the Vanilla Absolute. So the Rose Absolute and the Vanilla Absolute fragrances from Tower Perfumes are basically the Towerville fragrances, Vanilla Flash and Rose Flash brought into their original lineup. And I'll show you the bottles. This is the Rose Absolute. So I think the Towerville fragrances are completely discontinued. They were 30 ml bottles for like $63, I remember, for a while. They launched about 10 years ago, a little over 10 years ago. But the rose in this is super jammy, including a lot of spices and, of course, the Tower Perfumes DNA. I love this fragrance. I mean, I love both of the Vanilla Flash and Rose Flash. So I was so happy that these came back. Really grateful that they came back. I know they're, priced higher, but I'm glad that these did come back. So that's Rose Flash. I have videos on the channel from like a decade ago about Rose Flash and Vanilla Flash. And this is a Vanilla Flash. And I love these new bottles, by the way. Better than those tin bottles, although I have all of my packages for all of my Tower Perfumes fragrances. And here's Vanilla Absolute. which is Vanilla Flash. I still have a bottle of Vanilla Flash, but the pipe inside it has fallen out off the place where you can spray from, so you can't spray it, unfortunately, which is a bummer. I never got to finish that bottle. But Vanilla Absolute is boozy and for sure very Tower Odd DNA. Tower Odd referring to Tower Perfume's DNA. It's good. It's really, really great. I'm glad to have those. I mean, I still have a bottle of Rose Flash that I can use, but my Vanilla Flash was not working, as I said. So, but this is resinous and sticky. It's definitely got the Tower Odd. I think it has less of the Tower Odd than the Rose Flash does, but still really, really great fragrances. So, Vanilla Absolute. And then we've got two fragrances from the house of the different company. Who remembers this house? They're known for Celle de Vetiver and Oud for Love. Do you guys remember those fragrances? We've got a fragrance here called Azi Ardara. This is warm, resinous, ambery. Super smoky and spicy. Gives me a spice market vibe, but more like herbs of Provence for some strange reason. So there might be like spices or herbs in here that are found in herbs of Provence. But it's very, very resinous. It's not very bright. It's dark fragrance for sure. It's amber, but with a lot of spices and herbs. And then the next one, Love is Coming Chapter 2. Really yummy tomato leaf fragrance. Tomato, maybe it was like somewhat of a year for tomato leaves in 2025. There were several tomato leaf fragrances that launched. I love this. This is tomato leaves and the tomato fruit together. Super pulpy smelling. Oh my God, one of my favorite things to eat is tomatoes. I absolutely love the little cherry tomatoes on the vine that are like super concentrated in flavor. This is just like that. So for sure, it reminds me a little bit of Lambredon Low, but more in the tomato direction and super pulpy with the tomato pulp stuck in here, the fruit of the tomato leaves. Well, the tomato fruit. So yum, so yum. Check that out. This is Love is Coming Chapter 2. I don't get the name, but I love the smell. And tomatoes remind me of my dad because my dad grew them all the time. So I love tomatoes. All right, the next fragrance is from a house called The Seven Virtues. It's Buttercream Haze. Buttercream Haze. Oh man. If you're a gourmand lover, you got to get your nose on this. This is so delicious. This smells like literally dessert came out of the bottle and went in your mouth. Creamy, toasty, caramelly, sweet, sugary. Oh my God, it's good. I don't know nothing about the house, but this fragrance is super delicious. It's a realistic smell as well. Buttercream Haze, The Seven Virtues. Gourmand lovers, get your nose on it, please. It's really, really yum. All right, we've got 3 Thomas DeMonaco fragrances, and stay tuned for my video on these 3 fragrances. In fact, I have all 3 of the perfumers that created these new fragrances by Thomas DeMonaco, small chats with them in the video, so stay tuned for that sometime within the next couple of weeks. But this next fragrance is Thomas DeMonaco's Jade Amour. Jade Amour. Wait, did I have? Sorry, these are not in order. I think I need to start with Fleur d'Angers first. This is more of an aldehydic, metallic INCENSE smoky fragrance. These are all fragrances, all three of the fragrances are about futuristic flowers. To me, this is the least floral. It doesn't smell like a flower is what I'm trying to say, but it's definitely got minerally metallic touches, clean aldehydic, and also peppery, spicy, smoky touches. So that is Fleur d'Angers. I am giving my French accent a bit of work there. So the next one is Jade d'Amour. This is the most daring out of the three, honestly. This is also super fruity, but very, very floral. This gives me the idea of pulp, which I don't think I mentioned in the video that I shot. There's a little bit of a decaying flower, aging flower smell here. So it gives you a slight bit animalic quality, but there's also a tartness about it, astringency. To me, this is the most floral out of all three of them. It's quite daring, but it's a bit animalic. I should be warning you guys. Lovely fragrance. I think the collection is really solid, but these are completely different than anything else Thomas DeMonico has done. The last fragrance is Neo Eden. This one's like in the middle of how much floral notes there are. To me, as I said, the Fleur d'Angers is the least floral. The most floral is Jade d'Amour. Neo Eden is in the middle. And this is also very fruity. And also it's got this green green bitter touch about it, giving me slight cannabis-like qualities. But there's what is it called? There's rhubarb here. You totally pick up the rhubarb's juicy, kind of pulpy, fruitiness. So that's it. That's Neo Eden. Those three are the new Thomas DeMonico Futuristic Flowers fragrances. Up next, we've got Thomas Cosmala's Oud 12, number 12. Kind of a disappointing fragrance, unfortunately. It's a bummer. It's kind of I like the brand and they have some great fragrances. This one's a bit of a dud. Kind of simplistic, spicy, woody oud fragrance. I think it's for somebody that's a very new or a beginner to oud kind of a fragrance. I think it's a bit of a dud. Not because it hasn't been made great or produced great. It's just something I've smelled so much before. No groundbreaking here, nothing original. That's why I don't care for that one, sadly. But that is Oud 12. They do have a few new fragrances coming, which I want to get my nose on. We'll see what those are all about. But the next fragrance is Toba's Lovers and Strangers. Who's a fan of Toba? There's a video on the channel of the brand. This is one of their more recent fragrances. In fact, it launched in 2025. This is coffee and rose and amber and slightly fruity, spicy. It's a gourmand, but not super, candied or sweet and cakey and cookies and caramel. It's not like that. It's a nice balance of woods and amber, spices and coffee and rose, but not overwhelming gourmand. It's sweet though, but not super sweet. And the coffee in this is ground. It's not milky or anything like that. So that is Lovers and Strangers from the house of Toba. Then we've got Venezia 1920s Bellini. Bellini. So Peach Bellini. I've had a few in my lifetime. It's fruity, a bit effervescent, and sweet. It's got a little bit of tartness there. Gourmand, but not super overwhelmingly gourmand. Like I said, I think the last gourmand fragrance I spoke about that's like super sweet and gourmand is this right here. Buttercream Haze. Super gourmand. This is creamy, smooth, fruity, a little effervescent, and of course giving you the idea of that peachy Bellini, which I've had quite a few in my lifetime. So that is Bellini from Venezia 1920. And then the last three fragrances we're going to talk about are from the house of Zoologist Perfumes. We are going with Beaver Maple Edition first. Let me know if you're familiar with this one. It's actually quite powdery and sweet, but not overly sweet. It captures the maple quite lovely, but it's not syrupy, which is what I'm familiar with maple being like extremely syrupy, because I use it quite a bit with pancakes and waffles and things like that. So if you're thinking you're going in to a fragrance that it's super syrupy sweet, it's not that, but it captures it really nice and powdery. So that is Beaver Maple Edition. I'm not too familiar with the original Beaver, unfortunately, to compare to. I don't think it's the same perfumer either. The other fragrance that I'm going to talk about is Olm. This one's a bit unusual. This one's a bit more like a Zoologist Perfumes. Beaver Maple Edition is more in the line of like rabbit and bee. This one has a super earthy quality. Earthy and watery and a bit minerally. And a lot of greens. Peppery greens. Wow. Who's a fan of Olm? And my favorite of the three, it's Orchid Mantis. Surprised that I like this one. It's floral, it's green, it's luscious. Succulent, pulpy. It's got a slight funk in there, but it's covered up nicely with all of those nuances, you know, the pulpiness, the juiciness, its floral touches. It's almost like the flowers and the green stems are a little on the mature side, you know? There is a little bit of funk, but they're covered up nicely. And I'm smelling not animalic funk, I'm smelling like vegetation funk. I think that's what I get with this one, but it's a really nicely done fragrance. That's Tomu Inaba, I think he did that. He also did Moth. But that's really quite cool. I love the actual animal as well. Anyway, that's the end of the list. So I will do a top 50 from the 3 videos, as I said. And hopefully I'll get that up tomorrow, I'm hoping. Shooting all these videos has been quite long. You know, it's all real time. So I might have to take a break from doing a few deep dives in the future. But luckily, it's only 50 fragrances that I'm going to rank. So I'll most likely have that tomorrow for you guys. But let me know your thoughts on the fragrances here. What do you think about them? Do you like them? Do you enjoy them? Anything that I forgot? Again, I don't have access to everything, so I can't feature everything. But there was a nice group of fragrances here that are not mass market fragrances. So that's why I left these fragrances for this specific list. And so it's better that way, where we had the men's designer all on its own, signature line men's designer fragrances. And then, of course, the last fragrance video in this theme was luxury niche and luxury designer fragrances. And today it's more indie niche and artisanal fragrances. So let me know what's missing. Do add a comment below. Stay tuned for the 50 ranked list, hopefully tomorrow. And then don't forget to go subscribe to my shorts channel video. And as I was saying in Champagne video yesterday, there's going to be another channel that I'm going to create for other content. And I'll tell you guys all about what's going on with the channel and a few of my projects coming up down the line very soon. Hopefully within the next 2 to 3 weeks, I'll do a video. But anyway, thanks so much for watching today's video. Hopefully you guys had a very great New Year yesterday. Happy New Year. 2026 is here, and look forward to a lot more content like this. Anyway, thanks so much, guys. See you later. Bye-bye.